We've already talked about looking to toddlers as teachers of great posture, but around preschool age, most children start to kind of slump and they lose their good posture and then they kind of become like the rest of us. And so a lot of people want to know, how do I prevent this from happening to my child? So that's today's topic. So go ahead and watch this video that I prepared with my preschooler about how to teach good posture to children. All right, today we're going to talk about how to encourage children to sit with the proper posture. This is my lovely assistant Sienna, and she is going to show me typical slumpy posture. Why don't you show me what a slumpy position would look like? There's an exaggerated slump right there. Now, notice her pelvis is rocked backward. She's practically sitting on her tailbone here, and if there was a desk in front of her, she could be leaning on that. So now what we're going to do in order to encourage her to sit on her sits bones is I'm going to ask her to lean all the way forward. Lean all the way forward. Good. Scoot your bottom all the way back into the chair. Good. So it's touching the back, and sit up. Good. Now notice when she's properly on her sits bones, if I come up behind her and just give a little push, there's very little give to her body. Now, honey, can you go back into the slumpy position, please? Now, when they're in a C-curve position with the spine here and they're hunched over, and I push on her shoulders, makes the C-curve exaggerated. It turns the whole spine into a big spring here, and there's a lot of give. Let's do proper position again. So you can just come up behind your children. You don't even have to say anything. Just give them a little push, just a little test to see if they're collapsing as a result or if they're staying strong. If you're just introducing posture training to your child, you don't want to bombard them with too much information. Just getting them to sit on their sits bones is a good first step, because then it's going to allow them to naturally stack the spine up. Once they get used to that position, then we can focus on two additional things. One is doing those little shoulder rolls. You want to make sure that after they do a roll the shoulders back, and relax, that they're not stuck in an overly rigid position. So Sienna, you look a little stiff, so you can relax a little bit. You can relax a little bit. Yeah, good posture is supposed to be comfortable. So the other thing to look at is the legs. Are her legs rolled in? Her legs look good. She has separation between the knees, and her knees are kind of going away from each other. One thing that I don't like to see, here uncross, there we go, is the knees rolling in like this. So you were doing really good. Another really important part of the equation is the furniture that you buy for your children. This chair, as you can see, it's nice and supportive. If you put someone on the couch, especially someone so small, they're really not going to be able to sit on their sits bones. They're going to have no choice but to fall into that C-shaped position. One of the most important things that you can do is to really avoid nagging your children. You don't want to bombard them with too much information, and you don't want to hit it too hard. You want it to be fun, and you want it to be something that they buy into. If you have a child between the ages of about 3 and 8, you can get our book, Posture Posy and the Slumpy Back Goblins. It's a great way to introduce the topic of posture training to children. So we're going to talk about the power of a ball to release tightness in the muscles. So this is just a kind of a squishy-ish ball. You can use a tennis ball, a racket ball, a softball, whatever you want. Depends on how strong of a massage you want. So we're going to use this ball to release the glutes and the quads. And so what I'm going to do, it'll be a little hard to see while I'm doing it, but I'm going to focus on a couple of places on my leg that are prone to getting really tight. So right here is a good one, just on the outer edge of that quad there. And here's another good spot just below that hip bone. And then all the area around the hip bone gets really tight as well. So let's go ahead and do that first. So I'm going to swing my legs around. I'll put the ball underneath my leg, and I'm just going to kind of roll forward onto it. And I can just do little micro movements To release that muscle, I can go up and down or I can go back and forth. So focusing on the spots that I mentioned, but also you might find that you have other tight spots in your quads as well. Now, the muscles in your hips get really bound up from sitting all the time, and so releasing the quads is a really good way to kind of relieve that. So now I'm gonna roll the ball up, and I'm gonna get that area around my hip bone. So all the way up in the hip. And you can kind of just roll around, see what the good spot is for you. You can also get your glutes, so I'm just going to put it under my glute and let that leg fall open. Now I realize you can't really see what's going on there, but if you try it, you can roll the ball all around in that area, get all around the femur head, all in that little socket right there. All that tends to get really tight, especially if you're sitting a lot. You can even put the ball under your back, get little tight spots in your back, which is really good. And my personal favorite is taking 2 tennis balls and putting them in an old sock so they kind of stick together a little bit. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put my spine right in between those tennis balls. So kind of adjust it a little bit, and I'm gonna just kind of roll up and down a little bit. I get little adjustments and little stretches. And I can even just relax and let the arms open.